to this webinar on how to compete for the top spot in finance search. My name's Fletcher and I'm the VP of Marketing at Athena. Before we go into today's presentation, here's a little bit about me. So I spent 5 years at Google working on search ads before moving into Criteo, where we launched a predictive search product for Google Shopping, and now leading Athena, in the world's leading search intelligence platform. Our vision at Athena is a world of search transparency where precise ads connect marketers to consumers. We are very different in how we operate in the market, and here's why. Our AI-driven whole market view is different to anything else that's in the market at the moment. We pivot off of deep learned data categorization with automated trend detection and monitoring technology, so you have a handle of everything that's happening in your market on a day-to-day basis. We are built for client values and actionable outcomes, so every challenge that our advertisers face is unique and different, but we work to strive to solve them. We do that with our world-class customer success team, proving results for all leading verticals around the globe. And we're winning lots of awards along the way. So enough about us, let's talk about the finance space. We expect that this year will end at around about 15 billion spent on digital ad spend for finance services. That's the third biggest spender behind retail and auto. 45% of global digital ad revenue will be influenced by paid search advertising. But unfortunately, 76% of all Google ads fail to reach their targets. That's a message and a metric that we wouldn't want going to your boss. The pressure is on for those that are working in the finance space. Based on our search intelligence report, finance is really taking the lead. So with a whole market view, we've assessed who's winning and losing in the finance space. And finance is by far beating all of the insurers in the US market. The other point to be aware of is those that are working in the finance space tend to plan their strategy 2.4 years ahead. This is great, but falls behind automotive, whereas around 3.4 years are scheduled in planning their strategy. 92% of CMOs believe that paid search can help them make more informed business decisions. Before we look at the Search Intelligence Index for finance, I wanted to talk to 4 key pillars that are appropriate to you working in the finance space. So search should be your strategic lighthouse. First of all, you should control the narrative. Once you do that, you can own your brand. Once those first 2 pillars are locked in, you can then target higher value customers. And in doing so, you'll beat the competition. So let's look at the first one on controlling the narrative. Consistency really is key here, but in today's day and age, AI is really driving the narrative here. There's always a balance between AI and human creativity. The example that we've pulled here is Chase Bank, who hired AI copywriting, and it proved it made better results than humans. Your messaging in search should be the bridge across all digital channels. Learn and leverage from your ad copy to influence the customer journey. Understanding your position in the market and your competitor space can drive enormous value. So then let's talk about owning your brand. Search is your barometer for how truly safe your brand is. Search plays a critical role in the funnel, but unfortunately, trademark infringement happens in search. Don't let your brand be hijacked. Of the brands that Athena looks after, 14% of brand clicks are lost at every stage of the customer journey. We've worked out that 6 billion of awareness budget is lost through the funnel for impacting your channels and ROI. That's a huge number that people should be more aware of. So again, talking to our unique position with the whole market view, we typically find 10 times more infringements than any other solutions out in the market today. So, driving conversions. Search is always on. It's always everywhere. And the intent is clear. If you think about how critical search is in the part of the funnel from driving awareness, you really should be using this to scale. And don't forget social as well. A clear cross-channel strategy is really key. 95% of CMOs that we interviewed think that paid search works to drive sales. And finally, beating the competition. You need to understand who's really out there. Who are you really competing with? And who's driving your competitors' success? And how are they doing it? This will really breed a strategic mindset to help you move forward and capture more market share. Don't sit on the sidelines and use the best data possible to move forward. Review and take action and make this part of your day-to-day metrics on improving your market share. Almost 60% of marketing executives think that paid search plays a strategic role by gaining a competitive advantage. With that, let's talk about the Athena Search Intelligence Index, designed to drive CMO's strategic decision-making. And now we're going to look at the finance sector in specifics. Before we do that, let's talk about how the scores are constructed. The Search Intelligence score is from 0 to 100, driven again by the whole market view, which is out in the market on paid search, collecting over 600,000 data points a day. All of this data is then normalized, averaged to 50, and we're able to construct a leaderboard on each of the subcategories and verticals. So the first pillar that we're looking at is market leadership. So this is really how you're dominating your search market. Again, this would be a score from 0 to 100. Companies with a high market leadership score ensure that their search ads cover a wide-reaching, large audience. The second is search excellence. So this is really the search engine marketing efficiency and effectiveness. Once they're in these auctions, how effective are they at gaining clicks and conversions? The third one is brand ownership. So again, brand is really key in search. So how well are you protecting your brand and how many advertisers are bidding on your brand? So again, to calculate all of these scores, there are various metrics that roll up into these three pillars. So for market leadership, our technology looks at search term coverage, share of impressions, share of clicks. For search excellence, we look at click-through rate, cost per click, and average position, all key data points that models your search intelligence score. And then for finally, brand ownership is your brand coverage, your brand bidding defense, and your position 1 on brand terms. Here is the Q3 Search Intelligence Index, top 10 for finance. You can see here that we've split the data from mobile and desktop. As you can see, Bank of America are leading with a score of 97 on both devices. Chase, again, locked into position 2 with 94 and 93 respectively. The interesting point here is PayPal have a very, very strong mobile strategy in finance, again with a strong score of 94, tied in second place. Another interesting data point here is brands like Credit Karma, who have a very, very strong search intelligence score, pure play in digital, and don't have high street branches, but again, featuring very, very well and very high in the top 10. So let's look at some of these brands in more detail. First up, leading the pack. Let's look at Bank of America. So again, we're looking at the Q3 Search Intelligence Index for the finance category. The Bank of America score 97 on mobile and 97 on desktop. They're the clear market leader. They also have a clearly aligned device strategy. If they wanted to improve their scores further, they would look at their search excellence score, both at 92. This asks the questions, are the campaigns working as hard as they can be? Could they drive more performance from search? Again, with someone sitting in such a dominant position as this is more like defending your position. You are the target. Lots of search advertisers will be trying to be targeting that traffic. Also, from a strategic perspective, could they be looking at new markets, continued expansion, and to grow acquisition there? The next section, the chasing pack. So we've gone one step deeper here. We're looking at the Q3 Search Intelligence Index for banking, and it's JP Morgan. So their CMO is 71 on mobile and 74 on desktop. JP Morgan are actually sitting outside of the top 10 for banking, in position 22 for our ranking in this subcategory. Their market leadership score is below the market average. Are they really casting their net wide enough to capture clicks? One recommendation here is to double down on the brand journey. Their brand ownership scores need development. It seems like a crowded place for customers to navigate to. and also the threat of hijacking brand clicks is quite high for this advertiser. The next category, seen but not necessarily heard. So let's take a look at the credit card category and discover the CMO score is 81 on mobile and desktop 79. Again, sitting outside of the top 10 for credit cards, but they're actually having market share stolen by brands such as Home Depot, Hilton, and Macy's. They have really excellent market leadership, but search excellence is letting them down. Perhaps review their ad position and messaging to increase their CTR. They have really excellent brand ownership in a highly competitive category, but are they over-dependent on this? The next example that we have is in the banking category at Morgan Stanley. So with a CMO score of 72 on mobile and 71 on desktop, they're below average score on market leadership. So with this, the data would suggest that they're not winning in this particular category. When they do appear on terms, they have very high engagement with our modeled CTR, driving the highest scores there. With this particular brand, there's plenty of other categories to expand into, like wealth management, trading, etc. Our recommendation would take one segment at a time and dominate to use CI to identify opportunities. The next category is knowing your market. So here we have Charles Schwab. Diving deeper into the bank accounts, they're sitting well outside of the top 10. When you use data such as the whole market view for Athena, it casts a very wide net on your search activity. And we often find advertisers that are being pulled into auctions that wouldn't necessarily be their bread and butter. So here, Charles Schwab are not maximizing coverage on bank account terms. When they do appear, they perform very well, and searchers are engaged with their offering. So again, here we would look at an expansion strategy that's suggested. The next example we have is the life insurance category of Mutual of Omaha. They have a much stronger score in desktop. So again, could this be intentional? Could this be where the target audience search? There is a big jump in difference in search excellence on desktop. So they have a far better performance on this device, with CTR and CPC both encouraging for this particular brand. Brand again should be in the high 90s for this advertiser. There's room here for improvement and to really own your inbound brand clicks. So to conclude, here are your 3 top tips for better digital investments in finance. The first one, search as your strategic lighthouse. Use this data to guide your strategy and understand your whole market. 2, customer journey via search is key. Be clear and consistent in your messaging. Don't confuse, and make sure the way is paved clear for advertisers to find you. Benchmark your ways to success with data categorization. The better you start to segment data on your whole market, the more you understand and more confidence you can use to move forward. That concludes today's webinar. Thank you for listening, and hear from you soon.